Without a doubt, canned foods are the best foods to stockpile. They last a long, long time, practically speaking, in most cases, indefinitely. They're ready to eat right out of the can. Even better, you don't have to put a lot of heat into it like you would, for example, rice and beans. And even more so, they're so inexpensive compared to things like freeze-dried foods. But take note, they are not perfect, not even close. You have to take precautions and know how to stockpile it correctly so that way it can save your life. Because ironically, the same canned food that you buy to save your life could take your life if you don't know what you're doing. So make sure you take notes. This video is devoted to 11 pro tips on stockpiling canned food. Let's go. Number 1, what about nutrition? Even though the contents of the can may be eaten for decades after the best buy date, it may not be the best tasting thing. The texture and taste definitely go down over time. But if we're talking about in the apocalypse, who cares? You want the canned food. But it's more than that. When you talk about nutrients in the can, there's 2 different nutrients. First are the macronutrients, proteins, carbs, and lipids. They'll remain intact. So you can actually still get your proteins a long way into the future. However, things like vitamins, not so much. The vitamins will certainly degrade. You want to have the can, eaten before not just the best buy date, but like a good year or 2 afterwards to get all those nutrients. That's why we rotate stock. But again, we're talking about way in the future. There's no more canned food. It'll still sustain you for your proteins, carbs, and lipids. Number 2, with that, rotate your canned foods. So to make sure you keep the nutritional level as high as possible, I'm sure you have more of a prepper pantry. It's not just food stockpiled away, but you kind of like eat it now and then add to it later. Rotate the stock. It's really simple. Obviously, the newer stuff put in the back, the older stuff bring it up front. But here's a little tip for you. Take a Sharpie and write on there the date, so that way you can keep track of it much easier instead of trying to read the little date on there. So every time you buy some cans, date it and stock it. So number 3, how do you know the food has gone bad? There are certainly some clear warnings. For example, if you have a can that's bulging, that's bad news. When we talk about the cans, make sure they're rust-free. The seams, especially, there's a seam here, and going down the side of it. I don't have the label on this one, so I'm not sure where the seam is. But if the seam's here, where this dent's at, that's bad. Dents themselves aren't necessarily a bad thing. Bigger dents, yes, you obviously want to take care of these. It doesn't make the can immediately bad. But what this is going to do is go to the front of my stockpile. I dropped a can, guys, so we'll bring it upstairs. This is going to be for dinner for the next few days. Leaky or sticky residue, even though the can looks intact, if it's like sticky, you got to find out where that stickiness came from, because sometimes it'll seep out the lids. Pop tops or gas release when opening, not the pop tops like this, but when the tops pop open when you open it, releases gases, really bad thing. Of course, if you have a foul smell or furry food inside, obviously a really bad thing. So if you ever open up a can and it hisses really loud, that is a really bad situation. Don't even eat it, just toss it. Number 4, is all canned food safe for decades? Not really. We can break down canned food into 3 parts. Before the 1990s, they had a lot of tin cans. They actually soldered them, sometimes with lead that leached in. So even though, again, crap hits the fan, you have a can from 1940. Listen, I talk to people all the time on the channel who say, I just ate a can of whatever from 1940 or 50, and it tasted just fine. That's true. But it may seep in some lead. If you don't have any other food, I'd rather have a little bit of lead in my food than no food at all. Modern cans, after that, they started using lining with what's called BPA. I always make sure my cans are BPA free, because the BPA is actually made of estrogens that leaches in your food. Obviously, hormonally speaking, very bad for you, so you don't want to do that. So the new ones are, BPA free, and that's great. That's the ones you want to go for, but we will talk about other things too when it comes to acidic foods, because they come into play as well. Number 5, short-term use for dented cans. And I have 2 different situations for dented cans here. Again, this one, if I just drop this, I would immediately take this and use it within a week or 2. You could probably go even longer. But once it's dented, that's it. This can, I don't know if you can even see it, has a little tiny dent in it right here. Granted, it's along the seam. I can see the seam is not compromised. This can stay on my shelves a long time. But if you have tons of these and you want to get some extra noodle chicken broth soup, okay, I would probably still pick this one to get it out of the way. But the dent doesn't always mean it's bad. Very slight dents, not bad. Sharp dents, very bad. Dents along the seams, very bad. So again, either way, if I dent it, I use it anyways to be on the safe side. But the thing is, if you have any dents like this, you do not want to keep this stockpiled. Number 6, preservatives in canned food. And just read your ingredients. Maybe you are okay with preservatives. I'm not. I try to stay away from them. They're, oh my gosh, do the research. The things they put in there for preservatives are so bad for you, and even make things addicting sometimes. Really bad stuff. A lot of the canned food simply just has 3 ingredients: the food, water, and salt. Like vegetables, that's almost always what it is. Sometimes they put a little sugar in there. That's up to you. But food, that's what you're shooting for. Water's okay. Salt is an electrolyte. It's all needed. Things that are good. Even sugars keep your energy up during crap hits the fan. That's not a bad thing either. But look around, because there's a lot of preservatives in there. Now, again, crap hits the fan. You're like, I'm not going to worry about preservatives, and I'm with you. But crap hasn't hit the fan. So when you stockpile, you may want to try to find cans that don't have a lot of preservatives in them. It'll be much better for you. I mean, honestly, that's why I like Keystone meats. Keystone meats are great because they keep the preservatives out. It's just salt, which again is an electrolyte. It is something your body needs. Number 7, acid-based canned food. So we're talking about like canned fruits, canned tomato sauce, etc. The high acids start interacting with the lining. Again, we're not talking about BPA, but it will make it over time. That lining will start leaching into the food. It tastes terrible. Now, there's a lot of studies that say it's not bad for you. Other studies say, you may not want to stay away from it, or whatever the case may be. Taste-wise is one thing. Crap hits the fan, you know what? I'm just going to have a chance and eat it. If there happens to be some basil or some sugar, it helps erase or nullify a lot of that bad taste on there, which is good. But here's the problem. It's not simply just a bad taste, but sometimes as it goes through the lining, it's going to start eating away the can. And there we go. Now you may have a compromised can. That's bad. So for what we do is we try to always rotate it so we don't keep a lot of our high acid foods more than 18 months. And if we do, we can them in glass jars instead of keeping them in the cans. Number 8, the truth about pull top cans. So back to our soup. It's a pull top can. Not only is there a little dent in it, but it's pull top. Now, if the seal is good, the pull top can will be fine. You may not stack it so high. You have to treat it very gently. Pull top cans, if you have a choice, don't get the pull top cans. That's really simple. They are more prone to failure. The studies all show that. So why even get it? But if you have no choice, do it. Just treat it with care. Treat it with love. And make sure it doesn't pop open again. It's so much so that the military, and practically speaking, doesn't allow pull top cans unless it's very rare certain circumstances. So try to stay away from the pull tops. Number 9, you better have a manual can opener. I love my electric can opener. It's my buddy. But I have tons of manual ones. I have the crank ones. I have the P38s. I have P51s. And lots of them. So I'll link below if you ever want to get some of those good old-fashioned military can openers. They're great. You get used to doing them, but they're kind of a pain the first time, couple times you do it. But make sure you have a lot of manual can openers. Now, if you're in a circumstance and I want to eat my Happy Harvest sweet peas and I don't have a can opener, you can still do it, by the way. All you do is the seal is really just right here on the edge. Just take the can, rub it around on a rock. That rock will eat into the edge and the lid will pop right off. You do have a little elbow grease going into it, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have a can opener. But you know what? We're preppers. I'll link below the military ones for you if you want to get them, but make sure you have manual can openers. Number 10, proper storage. Cool, dark area, temperature around 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You certainly don't want to get to freezing, and you certainly don't want to go higher than 70 or even 80 degrees. Bad news. Don't put your cans on the concrete floor. It will attract moisture, therefore attract rust. Avoid stacking a lot of cans. For regular size cans, maybe 3 or 4 high. When we look at the number 10 cans, I don't go more than 3 high because the excess pressure will start causing it to bulge and may compromise the seals. And number 11, heating in the can. So can you heat in the can? Yes and no. Can you just heat in the can? Sure, but flames? No, absolutely not. So if you do want to heat the can, the best way to do it is have a pot with some water in it and you put the can in the pot. I take the lid off if I would do it. I wouldn't actually have it so the pressure increases. And that way the water, it's like a water bath, makes it nice and warm. Personally, I don't see a reason for that. I would rather actually empty the water of the pot, open this up and pour this in the pot is what I would do. So what happens is when you have extreme heat, especially with fire, the lining in there again will start causing problems. I mean, in the apocalypse, you'd say, well, I don't care about the lining, but on the same note, in the apocalypse, you really have to have warm canned food. You can just eat it right out of the can, just like this. All right, if this has actually helped you in any way in your food storage plan, I ask you to please subscribe and share. Of course, that's what I do because we want Goshen Prepping to go and reach more people with real practical strategies when it comes to prepping, like stockpiling cans. It is, again, the best food to stockpile. Put in the comments below what kind of bad experiences have you had with cans, or if you're one of those people who are like, oh, canned food doesn't last indefinitely. You may not sound like that, but in my head you do. put in the comments below if you've actually eaten cans 30, 40, 50 years old and it was just fine. I love those comments, by the way. There's lots of them. So anyways, thanks for following along. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope this helped you out. We will see you next time.